Football Friday on KDLT. Woo!
And welcome to another hectic Football Friday, and I'm not kidding about that. I'm Mark Ovenden.
And I'm Zach Borg. Our show is brought to you by Pizza Ranch, home of the Fun Zone, which is what we have, well, every Friday night when we're not running around or when we are running around during the high school football season.
It's all fun. The President's Bowl, of course, is tomorrow at Howard Wood Field with all 4 Sioux Falls schools. But tonight we had a great matchup in Brandon. Let's go to the highlights where the second-ranked teams in 11 AAA and 11 AA met. Max Jensen was there to get the highlights, and boy, did he get a bunch. Look at this trickery.
Oh.
Como to Reinschmidt, who chucks it to Isaiah Block for a huge gain. And the Lynx were all in charge in the first half of this game. That fancy play led to Como to Reinschmidt. He goes untouched, 17 yards for the score. It's 6-0 Lynx. Yankton backed up in their own end zone. Mason Strahl drops back, and Cole Christensen makes the pick, takes it to the house for 6. It's 13-0 now in favor of the Lynx. Second quarter, 4th and 2 on the 5. Como with a quick throw to Spencer Grage for the touchdown that makes it 21-0.
Game over.
The game is over, right? No, it is not over. Yankton gets on the board before halftime as Strahl spins away from the defender and finds Sheldon Gant. He goes 59 yards all the way down to the 2-yard line, leads to a Jordan Leitner 1-yard plunge, so it's 21-7 at halftime. Yankton's got some momentum now. All right, here is the second half. In fact, here is the tying touchdown by Leitner. It's 21-21. We go to overtime. Brandon Valley kicks a field goal. First play, when they get the possession, Strahl.
Boom.
Quick slant to Brady Hale for the game-winning touchdown. An unbelievable comeback by the Bucks without their head coach. Afterwards, we talked to Dan Mitchell, who stepped in and did what he could to take Arlen Lickness' spot.
The biggest thing I need to say is the kids did not give up. They had a hard first half. Second half, we talked to them, and they raised their level up and started playing hard.
Did they ever? Yikes, what a comeback. All right, the Brookings Bobcats are the top-ranked team in 11 AA football. You talked to the Cats yesterday up in Brookings.
They said they weren't going to overlook Spearfish.
Well, early they kind of did, maybe on that sack, but after that it was all Bobcats. I shot them last Friday night. They get the sack right there, and then they start to crank up the offense. Gerald Maxwell, who had the hat trick last Friday night with 3 touchdowns, watch number 28 bounce away from everybody. He is going, and gone. Almost down to the goal line. Didn't quite score there. And Mikey Daniels did. Mikey had 225 yards, scored a couple of times. Let's go to the scoreboard. 62-12 was your final as they improved to 3-0. And there's that wild score again. In fact, it's reversed. Yankton wins it in overtime, 27-24. Aberdeen, shocking Watertown tonight, 34-13. Eagles now 2-1. Harrisburg rolls to a 3-0 record. Out west, Douglas beats Central. The Patriots are now 3-0. And of course, tomorrow night at the out at Howard Wood, there's your matchups for the President's Bowl. Lincoln and Roosevelt at 7. O'Gorman and Washington play at 4. And don't forget about Pierre and Mitchell. They play at 5 o'clock tomorrow. Well, if you look back in the history books, West Central and Vermillion were always playing in the state title games when the playoffs first started. That could happen again this year based on our impressive starts for both teams. Paul Harnett was in Hartford tonight for the big matchup between these two rivals.
Well, Mark, the Trojans are defending 11A champs, and the Tanagers, well, they'd like to get back there. And it's great to see this rivalry back in full swing, although it was a bit one-sided tonight. Homecoming in Hartford. First drive for Vermillion. Jack Brown can't find anyone, so he takes off. He gets close to the end zone for Vermillion. 4th and goal now for the Tanagers. The pass is tipped and then picked off by Josh Metler. That ends the Tanager threat. On the very next play, Mueller, he dials up something. Cody Bussell, he's shot out of the sun. Goes 84 yards for the touchdown, 7-0
Way to
West
stick
Central.
with it, Paul.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah.
Trojans up 14-0 now, and they open up the playbook. Jace Hanisch, play action pass to Michael Wagner for a big gain. Same drive, West Central caps it off with another pass. 2 on the same drive. Hanisch to Wagner, finished it off for 6. 21-0 Trojans at that point. West Central rolls tonight, 51-0.
Yikes.
The middle game of the SoDak Bowl at the Bob was actually a home game for Sioux Falls Christian playing Lennox. Sharp uniforms for
I
Lennox,
love
by
those
the
uniforms.
way.
They
Yeah,
look
I
a little
agree.
bit like the Buccaneers or maybe Oklahoma State.
A little trickeration from the Chargers. Keegan Van Egdom takes it from 8 yards out, and it's 6-0 Sioux Falls Christian. Then Lennox with a swing pass to John Oldenkamp. He makes a couple of nice cuts, and he's gone for an 18-yard score. It's 7-6 Lennox. I like the way Sioux Falls Christian's been playing to start the year, though. Here's Jacob Lackus for Lennox. He is not lacking a touchdown. That's a 49-yard score, 14-6 Orioles. Sioux Falls Christian comes back in the red zone. Van Egdom the ball again. He gets into the end zone. This was a very entertaining game, but Lennox pulls away and hands him a heartbreaker, 36-30.
All right, and 11B, which I always think is the toughest class to figure out who's going to win it. The Cavaliers of Aberdeen Roncalli have always fielded a championship caliber team based on defense and running the football, and they did that again tonight in Flandreau. A nice run for the touchdown by Colton Cox. As he puts them up 6-0. Second quarter, Roncalli about to score. Cox gets the pitch again. He had 3 touchdowns in the game tonight. Later on, it's going to be Zach Lundquist, who's going to be our athlete of the week on Monday.
Has an awesome first name.
Jaden Everson in the end zone, 13 yards for the score, 18-0 Cavaliers. More and more, they block the punt right here. It's going to be Connor Fiedler who picks it up and takes it for the touchdown. 31-zip at that point, and then Lundquist gets his second touchdown of the half. And they get that pass to Braden Summers for the touchdown and go on to win 45-0 to stay undefeated.
The Mustangs of Tri-Valley, also another perennial title contender. They started the night ranked 5th in 11B with the Cossacks of Sioux Valley at their home field near Colton. Battle of the Valleys, if you will. Sioux Valley trying to make a comeback. Colin Kramer throws, picked off by Austin Settle. He takes it back to about the 50-yard line. Tri-Valley's Matt Prather will bounce off tackles moments later. He's in for a 15-yard score. And Tri-Valley has taken the lead. Actually, didn't get in the end zone. The next play would. Logan Amundsen, he scores on the 10-yard run. There we go. All Tri-Valley, they win 41-22.
All right, in the 9-man ranks, 2 perennial powerhouses met in Castlewood tonight. That's where the Warriors hosted the number 2 team in 9AA. That is Arlington, and boy, did the Cardinals look good tonight. Andrew King with that sun shining. You can see that he takes it in and makes it 7-0. Then it's going to be King rolling out and finding Logan Kangas in the back of the end zone. Yikes. That makes it 14-0, just halfway through the first quarter. Cardinals' Luke Weber then takes it up the middle. He scores. It's 21-0. 5 minutes left in the first quarter. King again to Tanner Lemmy right here on a short route. Makes it 28-0, and they go on to win 55-14, your final.
The last game of the night at the Bob at USF was the best on paper with the number 2 team in 9-1 Howard taking on 9AA defending champion Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan. Already 14-0 Howard on 2 Luke Loudenberg touchdown runs. Guess what he does? Gets an interception. Yep, he'll return it deep down inside the goal line. That would set up, guess what? Loudenberg's third touchdown run. And guess what the guy who has everything in the stat line does? He gets a fumble recovery on the next series. That would lead to another touchdown. All Howard, 36-0.
They're good.
Yeah.
Cardinals of Del Rapids St. Mary got off to a great start with a win at Dubrook last Friday night. They actually fell behind early in this game to Elkton Lake Benton on Alex Troutman's 1-yard score, but Wes Heinrichs with a pass to his big tight end, Noah Fegan, number 84, and he finds the end zone. And with a 2-point conversion, it's 8-6. Big night for Josh Brown. Watch him keep his balance right here. And he's going to score on the first play of the second quarter to make it 14-6, had 179 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game tonight. Fegan with the sack as they roll to a 52-14 win.
The Gorillas of Gregory had a lopsided win over Avon last Friday. This afternoon, they kicked off that triple header at the Bob with Kimball White Lake, 7-0 Gorillas in the second, and they get the punt block. Matt Neitzel flying in for it. A few plays later, Kurt Braun going to use his brains as he'll throw the fade into the corner of the end zone, and somehow Mason Jurasek makes the catch. It was 15-0. They go on to roll by the final of 36-14.
And Canastota, yep, that score is right. We, of course, profiled the Freeman problems they've had with number of players and 2 guys getting hurt. They forfeited the game tonight. The Hawks go to 3-0, ranked number 1 in 9B. Freeman hopes to play next Friday night, by the way, for their homecoming. Roncalli wins 45-zip. There's your Howard score again, 36-0. Lennox wins, Arlington 55-14. You saw the highlights of all those. Saw the highlights of that. Del Rapids BT 41 14. Madison 48-6. They've been incredible this year with losing all those talented players to graduation. There's your DRSM win, 52-14. Parkston ranked number 1 in 11B. An impressive win tonight. Garrettson wins at Baltic tonight. Viborg Hurley, and there's your Tri-Valley score again, 41-22. Mustangs 3-0. Hamlin off to a great start, wins big tonight. Alcester Hudson is 3-0 with a 20-point win. Avon bounces back with a big win tonight. Redfield Dolan, a close one over Millbank. Dual beats Webster, a battle of undefeated teams there as Dual goes to 3-0. Cologne wins over Highmore Herald. McCook Central Montrose and Canton both win tonight. Beersford was undefeated before tonight. Platte Geddes, Dakota Christian, and Dubrook both win, along with Langford and Chamberlain over Cheyenne Eagle Butte. Florence Henry and Gayville Vollen both win tonight, along with Parker doubling up on Centerville. Oldham Ramona Rutland wins 34-14. Clark Willow Lake bounces back with a win. Little Wound beats Pine Ridge. It was Hills Beaver Creek winning 54-26, and Laverne stays undefeated with a nice win over Worthington 36-13. And that's sports. Well, I'll be right back.